Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another exciting module here in Biology 102, also known as General Biology 2, where we want to be able to take a look at the world around us and ask questions and solve those questions using natural science phenomena. But this week, we are going to be talking about something very awe-aspiring, but quite urgent in us being able to learn more about the world around us. And that is learning biodiversity, but also the crises it faces. Life on this planet is unbelievably abundant. From the microscopic organisms that shape the ecosystems beneath our feet to the massive blue whales that glide through our ocean, but also the organisms long since disappeared from the face of our planet. Life thrives in millions of unique different forms, but there's a twist behind that. Not all life is guaranteed to stick around forever. It disappears through the different feedback loops and processes that occur on our small blue planet over a period of time. And that's because extinction, it's forever. It's an ongoing process that we as biologists acknowledge does exist, just as much as evolutionary processes allow for the formation of new species. There has to be a process that ultimately ends them. And that's what I want to be able to share with you this week is biodiversity and extinction as our main theme. But what is extinction? Well, extinction is when a species disappears permanently from the face of the planet. Either they all die off, or maybe there is a disproportionate of breeding pairs. But and that's what we call functional extinction. But extinction is just when an organism unfortunately just dies off and becomes gone forever. Think of the stories of ancient times, long since past. The dinosaurs are a wonderful example of evolutionary success, but also extinction, except for their closest relatives that are still with us today, birds. But interestingly, extinction has occurred before, catastrophically, in fact. And Earth has already gone through at least five major mass extinctions, and we are going to learn a bit about those and the effects that occurred with our overall planet biodiversity. We call this extinction bias because it's the biased data that is being presented to us for us to think critically about. The five major mass extinctions in Earth history are going to be the Ordovician to Silurian extinction, which occurred around 443 million years ago. And this was caused by rapid climate change due to the rapid growth and glaciation of some glaciers that were forming on the planet. And because of that, the loss of aquatic ecosystems occurred and a change in the nutrient system of those oceans. About 86% of the marine species went extinct at this time. As we get closer to our own time, we witness a extinction event during the late Devonian, about 375 million years ago. And this may have been caused by underwater volcanic activity, which reduced the oxygen level in the ocean, essentially suffocating life, along with asteroid impacts that may have hit parts of northeastern Russia, or what we define as northeastern Russia during modern times. About 75% of species were lost, and many of these were reef-building organisms that contributed to the broader ecosystems, essentially causing the biodiversity in the oceans to collapse and then slowly recover. About 252 million years ago, we see the Permian Triassic extinction. And this was caused by massive volcanic eruptions, also known as the Siberian traps. And this led to massive levels of global warming. The world's oceans became very acidic and loss of oxygen. About 96% of life on our planet died during that event. This was also known as the Great Dying, and an analog to what may come in our future if we're not aware of biodiversity and extinction. We also see an extinction event during the Triassic and Jurassic transition about 201 million years ago. 80% of species were lost during that, but it allowed for new life to dominate the planet, which eventually became snuffed out on one fateful day about 66 million years ago during the transition of the late Cretaceous period to the early Paleogene, when a massive asteroid comes careening into and impacts our planet off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in Central America. This allowed for not only a destabilization of volcanic activity, but a massive tsunami that washed over parts of North America, as evidenced by the famous Tanis site in North Dakota, but also ejected enough debris into the atmosphere, which eventually blocked out the sun and caused a cascade effect in both terrestrial and aquatic biomes. About 76% of the global species were lost, all within a short period of time, and the effects were felt at least 5 million years afterwards, based on depositional records. And that allowed for the ushering in of the earliest mammals. But when we bring in a new species, we also have to look at those impacts. Interestingly, we're actually going through what we call a sixth mass extinction. And this is primarily driven by human activities, such as habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, and overexploitation of endangered species. We're the cause of the next extinction, not just some giant space rock or the change in the chemistry of the global oceans. It's us, and we need to be aware of that as biology students, but also citizen scientists. And when we apply these pressures, these are not natural selection pressures. These are human impacts that are going to modify our planet. And we need to be able to better understand that, because we as humans have the technology to be able to prevent this, or at least mitigate the effects. We don't want to see the removal of a lot of the branches of our family tree of life. We want to have the broader representatives of different kingdoms. And so biodiversity, it's not about just having a bunch of cool species at all once. It's all about balance and equilibrium. The more species in an ecosystem, the more stable and resilient it truly is. But again, we as humans are destabilizing these ecosystems and causing a global crisis. Our pollution and deforestation, climate change, habitat destruction are all pushing these species to their breaking points. Good news, we are fighting back. Conservation efforts, habitat reforestation, and biodiversity monitoring are making a difference. And in fact, here at Eastern, we do teach you some of these techniques as part of the Biological Environmental Technology program. And our goal is to preserve what's left and restore what has been lost and mitigate those human impacts. Recognizing the role of biodiversity loss has led to targeted conservation efforts, like wolf reintroductions in the Yellowstone parks or reestablishing coral reef ecosystem projects. And these are all done by citizens like you and me. By protecting a variety of different species, we safeguard entire ecosystems, which in turn will allow for the reestablishment of biodiversity. Targeted conservation efforts are playing that crucial role in combating extinction and biodiversity loss by focusing on species protection, habitat restoration, but overall making that ecosystem as sustainable as possible for natural processes to occur and allow for that equilibrium balance. Some programs that I've been following lately, and I'd like to share them with you, would be the Black Rhino Recovery Project, where they are starting to allow for breeding of black rhinos to increase their populations and allow for them to have more access to more breeding partners. And the California Condor breeding program is doing just that also by using captive breeding and reintroduction into the wild to allow for those populations to return back to their native metrics or population counts. Additionally, habitat conservation initiatives, such as the establishment of the MPA or the Marine Protected Areas, and large-scale reforestation projects are helping restore ecosystems that support countless species by ensuring that the animals have a safe, connected space to migrate to and reproduce in. We can well, some of the projects in that area that I'm following is the Yellowstone and Yukon corridor, and even the wildlife overpasses that we talked about in our biogeography unit are reducing that human to wildlife conflict and improves the genetic diversity in isolated populations and allow them to either allopatrically or sympatrically interact with each other to maybe give rise to new numbers in our biodiversity. Beyond direct species intervention, we have to also look at the government side of protecting our global biodiversity, conservation policies, and legal protections like the ESA or Endangered Species Act and CITES helps regulate hunting, habitat destruction, and wildlife trade. Anti-poaching technologies, including drones and AI-powered surveillance systems, assist in enforcing these important laws and protecting the vulnerable species. Here in the Appalachian region, we embrace sustainable agriculture and ecotourism along with community-led conservation initiatives to further ensure that biodiversity protection benefits both the people and the local wildlife. Topics we cover in environmental science courses here at the college, but also the BET program. Cutting edge science, such as even genetic banking and cloning and biotechnology, offers some hope for reviving species on the brink of extinction. Sure, we're not going to be able to recreate Jurassic Park anytime soon, but we can at least be able to genetically modify certain organisms to allow for specific traits to arise to allow them to deal with the changing world around them. We can assist the biodiversity and maintain it, not destroy it. These combined efforts demonstrate while biodiversity is under threat, just strategic actions and global collaboration will inevitably help us maintain a variety of life for our future generations. For me, I want to be able to make sure my grandkids can see a giraffe in a zoo or on the wild savannas of Africa. So, throughout this week's module, I want us to dive deep into the living world and how it has changed and functioned through biodiversity and how can we protect it. And that if we can't protect it, what are the pressures that force a species to become extinct? Remember, biology isn't just a subject that you're taking here in college. It's a story of life and a story we are still adding chapters to. And you are part of that. As always, if you have any questions about this week's module, please reach out. You can get a hold of me through video chat, you can send me an email, or swing by my office and let's walk together on this learning journey. Thank you.
In a diner so divine, where the neon lights do shine, sipping Nuka-Cola while the jukebox spins so fine. Beside you in a poodle skirt, your smile makes it glow. We dance through mushroom clouds as if we didn't know. Hand in hand we sway and twirl like leaves caught in the breeze. The future's out of sight, but honey, let's not tease. Your laughter's like a melody amidst this crazy race. We toast to atomic tomorrows with a fizz and a driving grace. Nuka-Cola dreams in a bombshell's embrace, dancing through the fallout with style and grace. We'll sing and we'll swing under a glowing moon to the rhythm of a time that's gone too soon. An interlude of innocence in a world that's gone askew. We find a vintage comfort in a bottle's perfect brew. You whisper sweet upheaval as sirens start to scream. It's a fallout fantasy in our golden gleam. Nuka-Cola dreams in a bombshell's embrace, dancing through the fallout with style and grace. We'll sing and we'll swing under a glowing moon to the rhythm of a time that's gone too soon. The cityscape's a shadow now, but darling, don't despair. With every sip of Nuka, we'll banish every care. In this 50s utopia, where danger meets desire, we'll serenade the skies while the world's on fire.